Tonight, we want to get right to our debate coverage.
6 candidates in 2 races met at the Georgia National Fairgrounds in Perry.
I moderated as 4 panelists asked questions of the candidates. The candidates also had an opportunity to question one another.
We want to start our recap tonight with what was at times a contentious Senate debate. Republican David Perdue, Democrat Michelle Nunn, and Libertarian Amanda Swafford took the stage first.
Their hour-long back and forth punctuated by cheers, applause, and jeers from an excited crowd that filled Reeves Arena early. Many of them coming in by bus from around the state. One major topic, American jobs leaving American soil due to outsourcing.
When that topic arose, Nunn took a swing at Perdue's past as a corporate CEO.
Well, David has talked about failed government policies of President Obama and Harry Reid. In fact, I'm not sure that he recognizes that he's not running against Harry Reid or Barack Obama. He's running against me. His tenure of outsourcing took place over 40 years, period. So to blame this administration, for instance, on what happened during his work at Pillowtex or Reebok or Sara Lee, when he was outsourcing thousands of jobs, there have been a lot of folks that have been creating manufacturing jobs right here in Georgia at the same time.
Jim, go ahead, David. We're going to wrap this up with rebuttal, Mr. Perdue, 30 seconds, then we need to move on.
Michelle, I have a lot of respect for you, but you're dead wrong. I am absolutely running against Barack Obama and Harry Reid. Make no mistake, no amount of false advertising will move the fact that Barack Obama handpicked you, he hand-funded you, he's mentoring you. Do you really believe that we'll believe that you will not bite the hand that feeds you? That you will bite the hand that feeds you, sorry.
Another question tonight tied into immigration and how the candidates would vote to break what's essentially been legislative gridlock.
Ms. Nunn, WMAZ asked viewers to send in questions, and we got a ton of questions about immigration. They range from cutting education for illegal immigrants.
Randall, I think we're having trouble hearing you.
Lower your mic, please, Randall. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anyway, they range from amnesty to illegal immigrants getting American citizens jobs to the cost of educating children of illegal immigrants and providing health care for them. If you're elected to Senate, what would you do regarding amnesty for illegals and providing those costs?
I am in support of the bipartisan immigration framework put forward by Marco Rubio and John McCain and 14 Republican senators and a bipartisan coalition of Democrats. It is also advanced by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the Farm Bureau, and it is a framework for investing in our border security, 20,000 security agents on the border as a part of this bipartisan bill. So when David talks about our border security, let's talk about what we could have already accomplished around that. It also gives folks a pathway, not amnesty, a long journey going to the back of the line, paying back taxes, security check, learning English, and it gives us the opportunity to create jobs, over 1 million estimated jobs, and to cut our debt.
All right. Randall, go ahead. Follow up.
Mr. Perdue looks like he's foaming at the bit on that one. Did you want to respond?
Oh, yes.
30 seconds, sir.
Let me tell you what's wrong with that bill. If I'd been in the Senate, I would have gone against some of my Republican counterparts because of 2 things. It did not define amnesty properly, and it gave the Department of Homeland Security discretion about securing our border. Now with ISIS, we see that that's not acceptable. My opponent will be nothing but a proxy for this president in terms of not enforcing the laws of the land, in terms of securing our border.
The candidates also tackled an issue that's dominated a lot of conversations at the state level here in Georgia: medical marijuana.
A push to legalize cannabis oil died in the state house this past session, but lawmakers are giving it another go during this upcoming session. Tonight, Libertarian candidate Amanda Swafford weighed in on the issue of legalization.
Ms. Swafford, there's been a lot of discussion about legalizing medical marijuana in the state of Georgia. If you were elected to the Senate, would you support legalizing medical marijuana throughout the United States?
I believe right here in Georgia we've had unique cases this year where we've seen families really struggle with the issue of a known substance that's helping them with their children with these seizures. So that's a very well-known fact that we've got families that are having to uproot their life and move to different states. And if Georgia doesn't get progressive about this issue, we're going to have other states around us that are going to do it, and the families are just going to leave Georgia. And that's leaving jobs, that's leaving a lot of economic vitality to this state. So yes, I think that's very important. In order to allow that to happen, we need to definitely allow the legalization of marijuana for medical purposes.
It's election night across Georgia, and the ballots are still being tallied.
At stake, the seat for Georgia's governor, a U.S. Senate seat to replace a retiring senator, the Secretary of State, and other congressional positions.
The latest results tonight, and we'll have them throughout the night on the air and online at 13WMAZ.com.
First up tonight, a contentious race that's seen ups, downs, and plenty of mudslinging. The U.S. Senate seat to replace Republican Satsby Chambliss.
Race is a crucial one, not just for the state of Georgia, but because it could contribute to a party power shift in Congress. Let's check out the results right now. And with 62% of the precincts reporting, you can see David Perdue has nearly a 300,000 vote lead over the Democrat Michelle Nunn. The Libertarian Amanda Swafford polling only at 2% right now. Of course, Satsby Chambliss deciding not to run for re-election. That's why that seat is open.
Things are picking up at the Perdue headquarters.
And that's where we find our Carly Barnett. She joins us live.
I'm here at the Intercontinental in Buckhead, and as you can see, it's a very different site than what we saw earlier. There's probably a few hundred people here right now. David Perdue has not arrived yet, but we did speak with his cousin, former Governor Sonny Perdue. He says they are confident of a victory this evening.
I think we will. I'm optimistic. I think things have been trending very nicely. I think David's message has resonated with the voters of Georgia. Both campaigns have had a lot of money to spend, and I think people are tired of all the negative ads, but I think David's values and his conservative convictions have come across, and I think that's what Georgians still respond to.
And we will see what those votes decide this evening. Make sure you keep checking back with us for more updates. Frank, Portia?
Carly Barnett reporting at David Perdue's victory celebration, and a lot of folks are very excited there right now.
And at Michelle Nunn's headquarters, Sophia Danero-Cotier is camped out hearing those results and talking to the people there. She joins us live now by phone now from Nunn's headquarters in Atlanta.
Portia, right now this room is packed, shoulder to shoulder, and more supporters are pouring in. It's a very lively mood in here tonight. Actually just heard some cheers as some updates came in. People are dancing, enjoying the music, and of course just enjoying the fact that they can be out here supporting Michelle Nunn. She's not arrived yet either, but when she does, the stage is already set for her to speak to the crowd. We talked to Mayor Kasim Reed today, who's very optimistic about the race. He says it doesn't matter if it goes into a runoff, but she can win in January. I'll be giving live updates all throughout the evening on Twitter. Sophia Danero-Cotier, 13 WMAZ Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Sophia.
Well, Governor Nathan Deal hoping to keep his seat at the helm of the state.
Anita O is at the Georgia Football Hall of Fame.
There you see the results right now.
Here.
And again, that's about a 270,000 vote lead for Nathan Deal, the Republican incumbent, with 66% of the precincts reporting. Again, the Libertarian Andrew Hunt polling at about 2%.
Anita O is at the Georgia Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, where supporters are gathered to cheer on Governor Deal.
Frank, Portia, it is a packed house here. Energy is building as the crowd watches those results come in. And supporters tell me that they are excited and anticipating that Governor Nathan Deal will be able to take home a victory without a runoff tonight. Now, of course, that remains to be seen. But just a few moments ago, Representative Jack Kingston took the stage. Senator Johnny Isakson was also here greeting supporters and showing support for the governor, as did retiring Senator Saxby Chambliss. And here's what he told us about the tight race between Governor Deal and Democratic Senator Jason Carter.
Well, I'm confident that Governor Deal as well as David Perdue are going to prevail tonight without a runoff. If it is a runoff, then they're going to have to work very hard, and I'm confident they will, and at the end of the day, will prevail.
Now we're still waiting for Governor Nathan Deal to come down here and greet supporters. He was here before the party started to say hi to everyone, but his PR person tells us that he is upstairs watching those results in his suite. Live in Atlanta, I'm Anita O. Frank Portia, back to you.
Thank you, Anita.
And tonight at State Senator Jason Carty's watch party, Suzanne Lawler spoke with State Representative Nikki Randall.
Tuesday night, one thing we're hearing over and over again is that Georgia is becoming a purple state, maybe shifting towards a Democratic slant. Representative Nikki Randall says she served with Carter and knows how he would work in the governor's office.
Anyone that served with Jason, when you think of Jason Carter, you think about a consensus builder. He stayed busy helping everybody with all of their projects. He totally puts whatever he's doing aside. If it's something that's good for Georgia and he can lend a helping hand, that's just the kind of guy he is. And I think anybody that served with him will tell you that.
Reporting in downtown Atlanta, Suzanne Lawler, 13 WMAZ, Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Suzanne. The races for the U.S. Senate seat and the governor's race put the Republicans in the driver's seat so far tonight.
Will the numbers hold up? Joining us now in the studio to talk about what's happening right now and what could happen throughout the evening, Laura Lynch Jones, Randall Savage, and University of Georgia political science professor, Dr. Charles Bullock.
All right, thanks so much for being here with us. We appreciate it. So we're looking at these gaps, and they're pretty large at this point. Are there enough votes out there for Democrats to get back into contention?
There certainly are enough votes to make that possible. Yeah, the big urban counties haven't come in. Really huge county for Democrats is DeKalb County, but then each of the urban counties in Georgia tend to vote Democratic. So we haven't gotten those votes yet. Makes it harder and harder as the gap opens up, but there's still a lot of votes that need to be counted tonight.
Yeah, and of course in the congressional races down in District 12, John Barra, who's been able to overcome the Republican challenges for the last few elections, appears in jeopardy tonight.
Yeah, that's right, and it's harder for him in this being a midterm election. Now, one of the things we know is that generally Democrats are less likely to vote in midterms than Republicans. It's always a drop-off for both groups, but Republicans do a somewhat better job of holding their own and getting their voters back. Now, that district that John Barrow has run in has been the second effort that Republicans have made to create a district he couldn't win. So he defeated him once in 2012 when he got reelected, but I knew this midterm would be harder for him.
The GOP sweep, of course, all the other ballots in Georgia is pretty much GOP runaway at this point. Right. Nothing there is going to change. It's how it's come in, doing it.
No, none of the other congressional districts are in play. No, and. For the other statewide contests, those constitutional offices, which haven't had much advertising and therefore voters are primarily just voting their party line, the Republican advantages are even bigger in those. The one thing that might be interesting maybe would be the state school superintendent, because there's no incumbent there, so there's no incumbent advantage built in then.
Getting back to the Senate race, win or lose for Michelle Nunn, what is the impact of her candidacy in Georgia?
Yeah, the candidacy of Michelle Nunn and Jason Carter has resulted in there being a much stronger Democratic Party than there was a year ago. Now, the Democratic Party a year and a half ago was almost literally bankrupt. Well, they've raised millions and millions of dollars. So they've got long lists of contributors they can go and tap in 2016 and 2018. They have ranks of people who will go out and knock on doors and campaign for them. And they've also then brought in the Obama voter identification program, so that they've identified a greater number of people who are inclined to vote Democratic, so that they can try to get back in touch with them in future elections and make sure they get to the polls. So it's going to be a stronger Democratic Party even if they lose.
Control of the U.S. Senate. 3 of those seats that the Republicans wanted to pick up, they have done so.
That's right.
And how's it look in the others?
All right, 3 of them they picked up they needed. They've protected one that was thought originally to be in play. That was one in Kentucky. Mitch McConnell is going back to the Senate. Everyone expects at least 4 other seats which are going to go for the Republicans, from Democrat to Republican. So If the Democrats don't pick up Georgia and don't pick up Kansas with an independent, then it's almost foreordained that they're going to be a Republican majority in the Senate. And that looks very likely.
So is there still the chance if a runoff is forced in the Senate race? So what does that look like?
Okay, if there's a runoff, the experience has been that when we've had general election runoffs, and we've only had 5 of those in our history, so not a lot of them, but Republicans have won every one of them, whether the Republican was initially leader or second place. So from that, it leads us to believe that Republicans can be more successful at getting voters to come back several weeks later and cast a ballot.
And that runoff would not be until January the 6th, after the Christmas holiday, so it would drag out the election season a lot longer. But so far, again, those numbers favoring the Republicans at this point. Thanks so much. Okay. Appreciate your commentary. We'll talk to you again in just a little bit. Frank, Portia?
All right, thank y'all. We're now looking at results in some of the congressional races right now. Beginning in District 2, now there is a Democrat winning tonight in the state. That's Sanford Bishop right now. Looks like he'll hold on to that seat. He is defeating the incumbent Greg Duke right now by about 23,000 votes.
And in the U.S. Congress District 10 race, Jody Heiss, Republican, had 68% to Ken Dias' 32%. That is with 70% of those precincts reporting.
12th district race that Dr. Bullock was just touching on right now, with 70% of the precincts reporting. About a 9,000, a little less than that, 9,000 vote lead for Rick Allen over the incumbent John Barrow.
And in the state Senate, District 20 seat, Ross Tollison, the Republican candidate, had 70% to Chad Robbins' 30%. And that is with 70% of those precincts reporting.
District 23, the Republican Jesse Stone over Diane Evans with 66% of the precincts reporting. Stone leading by a little over 9,000 votes. Georgia House District 144, Bubba Repsey is the Republican incumbent with a lead over Joyce Denson right now with 70% of the precincts reporting. That's Georgia House District 144. Stay with us. This election night special on the Central Georgia CW returns right after this.